Hello, children. It's great to be back, and today we are going to have a beautiful story, Chandini. And through the story, we learn something about the importance of freedom. You remember the story, I Want Something in a Cage, which again told us about freedom. So, here also we are going to continue with the theme of freedom and how it's essential for all of us. The story is set in Almora, and main character that we have as of now is an old man who's known as Abu Khan. He lived alone, and as his companions he had pets, pet goats, and he gave them funny names. And he lived with them. They were his companions, and they were the ones who gave him the greatest happiness in his life. He would look after them just as if they were his own children, going to them, having fun with them. And afterwards he would tie them up with little strings around their necks. He did this for a particular reason. You'll wonder, now, why is it if someone loves goats like his own children, why is he tying them up? Now, the reason is that his goats were of the best hill breed. So, naturally, they wanted freedom. They wanted to run away and go to the hills. But when they went to the hills, what happened? They would get killed by an old wolf who was there. So he felt very sad when his goats disappeared, and so he wanted to avoid this. So for this, he would tie them up. And the goats, what they would do, they'll pull and pull at the string. At last, it'll break. Then they'll jump over the fence and go to the hills. So Abu Khan wonders, are these goats mad? Why are they going like this? It's so silly. Their love for freedom. He doesn't understand that. See, freedom is giving you only trouble. It's only giving you hardship. It's only giving you death. He's giving them the best grass, the juiciest grass, the best grains. He's giving them so much love, and yet they are going towards death. They're running towards death. So he couldn't understand why is it so that he's giving them everything, and yet they're leaving away. And one day when he had, was all alone, he was very sad because all his goats had left him. He decided, I'm not going to buy any more goats. I may live for a few more years, but I'll live without goats. But he became very lonely because he couldn't live without pets. So he decided to buy a very small goat. And this goat was so pretty. It was white as snow. It had small red horns, red eyes, small horns. She was very friendly. She used to listen to Abu Khan speaking and all that. So he thought she's a small goat, isn't it? So she'll live with him for a very long time. She'll not know of any other life. She'll only know about him. She'll only eat the food he has given. She'll only listen to the stories he says. And so she will love him a lot. She will never want to leave him and go to the hills. He called her Chandini because Chandini means moonlight, and she looks as beautiful, as white as moonlight. And he tells all his stories about how so many goats had died. Years passed. Chandani was still there, so he's very happy. But every morning, actually, she's looking at the hilltops and she's thinking, see, so beautiful those hills are. What a nice breeze goes there. How nice it'll be to run about there. And Abu Khan doesn't know this. He's still thinking that she will remain with me forever. She tried to run towards the hills, but what happened? She had to stop with a jerk because the rope around her neck is not allowing her to go any further. So she hates the rope. And he is still is continue, though she's listening to his stories, continuing to tell his stories, and she's listening to it with interest and affection, but she's losing her appetite. She's becoming thin, and all the time she's looking at the hilltops. First, he couldn't understand what is her problem. Why is she becoming thin? Why is she always upset? At last, she spoke frankly to him. She says, let me go to the hills. If I stay here, I'll die. So he's asking, why do you want to do that? I give you food. I'll do one thing. I'll give you a much more tasty food, and I'll give you a longer rope so that you can move further. She says, I don't want that. I want to go to the hills. He's saying, see, what will happen if you go there? There is a wolf there. It'll kill you. She's saying, I've got horns. I'll fight for my freedom. And then he's saying, fight for against a wolf? Do you think that will happen? There was a bigger goat than you, Kalua. She was the size of a deer. And she was also killed. So what is going to happen to you? Chandani was very, very stubborn. She's saying, no, I want to go to the... I don't want to remain here. At last, Abu Khan became very upset. He put her inside a hut. He closed the door and He said, "You are not going to go anywhere. You're going to stay in this hut only now. You are ungrateful, but I have to save you." But he forgot to close a small window. And Chandni, in the evening, she escaped through that window and went towards the hills. So now she's very, very happy. She feels that the hills are welcoming her. She feels like a child who's going to meet her parents after many years. Oh, this is so beautiful. This is so nice. And this is the happiest day of my life. She can see the tall grass, the beautiful flowers, the wind. She's playing there for hours. She met some wild goats. So they told her, "Come, join with us." But Chandani didn't want to join them because when you become a part of a group, again you lose your freedom. So she wants to enjoy her freedom by herself. She's playing in the hills, enjoying, be happy. But then it became night. The sun disappeared. It became dark. The flowers, the trees, everything were under darkness. The wind also stopped. Everything is still. And at that time, a strange sound is to be heard. So Chandani is wondering, what is this strange sound? It isn't Abu Khan's voice. It's not the voice of a goat. So is it the dangerous wolf? I'm scared. Should I go back to the safety of Abu Khan? No, I will not. It's better to die here in the open than to live safely inside a hut. For me, my freedom is very, very important. The wolf jumped out of the bushes. It is staring greedily at Chandani, thinking, okay, she is my meal. His eyes are like burning coals. He knew that this is a small goat. He can easily kill it. So he was not in a hurry. They looked at each other. The wolf is so big and ferocious. The goat, so though she's healthy, is small. But she was not weak. She stood there ready to fight. She looked so courageous. She looked like a soldier who's ready to fight. She thought, I must put up a good fight. Success or failure doesn't matter, but I must put up a good fight. The fight began, and the fight went on throughout the night. The moon, which was going on watching the fight, it started to become pale. Pale because it's becoming daylight, and so the moon is to disappear, and also because it's so sad. And it got hid behind the clouds. The stars disappeared, and it's going daytime. And at the dawn, from the mosque, you can hear the sound of the prayer. You can see Chandani lying on the ground. She's completely covered with blood. The wolf is also tired, so it has had a long fight, but it's getting ready to eat her. So there are some birds sitting there on top of a tree nearby, and they're discussing the fight. So one asks the other, who's the winner? The other says, the wolf. But the wise old bird says, no, it is the goat who's the winner. The wolf may have killed her, but she got the freedom that she wanted. So Chandani lived and enjoyed her freedom at least for one day, and she died with her freedom intact. I hope you enjoyed the story. Now you can pause here and complete your classwork. Complete these questions in your class. These are all your texts. Now you have some questions here for your homework.